So the new way of doing it is if I got 100 internet leads, what's your engagement rate of those internet leads? Now, statistically, it's been studied that it's between 30 and 35%. So let's use an analogy of baseball. If I give you 35 fastballs, how many of those do you knock out of the park? 50% of them, let's just say. So that's 18 appointments. If I can help you get an engagement level to 70%, which is what we're helping our dealerships get, I'm giving you more fastballs. Keep your conversion at 50%. You scheduled 35 appointments out of 70.
Welcome to the Sensei Playbook, the ultimate podcast for the automotive industry. Each week, we dive into the success stories and best practices from industry leaders who put customer experience first. From driving repeat business to earning coveted referrals, discover the tools and tactics that set the best apart. Get ready to hit the road to success. This is the Sensei Playbook.
Hello and welcome back to the Sensei Playbook. We have a very special guest this week who is a serial entrepreneur, a chief evangelist officer of a leading technology company serving the automotive industry, and is best known for his expertise on customer engagement, and his insights are as sharp as his amazing hair. We're in for a great conversation today. Welcome, Steve Roessler. Steve, glad to have you.
What up, Chris? All good, man. I didn't do the hair high and tight, especially. I got it cut on the sides for you. And I used my big sexy hair because that's what I got to use.
We certainly have hair wars when we see each other at the conferences. It is no mistake that both our significant others are in the hair business, so they work on our hair, right?
That's right.
Me, I just do the easy way out here.
Yeah, you save $30 a month.
Exactly.
So, Steve, let's jump into it. Let's talk first about your background because it's a pretty interesting background. You don't come from the car business. So give us some background on where you came from.
Well, I mean, without going into I'm an engineer by trade, by degree. So I did mechanical engineering, graduated from Missouri. I always knew I wanted to be in sales. I wanted to sell something technical. I didn't want to sell like pencils or anything like that. So the counselor said, go get a degree because I love math. So I did engineering sales for about 5 years. And then a buddy of mine got me into medical. And just like many people getting in the medical industry, you start off being a pharmaceutical rep, right? Carrying the bag is what you call it. But the pinnacle was getting surgery. So I did surgery type stuff with Medtronic or just some other various devices for the OR. And then I learned very quickly.
Orthopedic devices?
It's more on the neuro side for spinal cord stimulators, deep brain stimulators. So anybody with neuropathic pain or maybe spasticity. So if somebody got into a major car accident, they would put in a pump, and it's got a drug called baclofen, and it like releases like the muscles. I was working for Medtronic, and I learned at a very early age that when you own 90% of the market, it's hard to grow to 91 or 92. And so the competitors were coming in, so I got laid off at Medtronic. And so I got my first taste of startup in St. Louis with a company called Dynalabs. And so anyway, I got into pharmacy type stuff and learning drugs and testing drug stability, just some of the things you take for granted in going into compounding pharmacies and big hospitals all across the country. And so that was my first startup. And then somebody else asked me to start up another company. So I did 16 years of startup in the medical industry. And then obviously a buddy of mine knew I love CRM because I use CRM at every company I've ever worked for. I would never go to a company that didn't have a CRM. And he goes, hey, I want you to take a look at something. Well, we went up to his house at 1 a.m, drinking beer after a long night of poker. He showed me the mobile app and where you could shoot video in a CRM. I go, this is the future, man. This is the future. And I go, I would love this in the medical industry. He goes, how would you like to do it in automotive? And that's where we just started talking about getting into automotive. And here we are today, 10 years later. It's kind of the wildest thing.
That is wild.
What do you like most about the automotive industry?
Going from the medical industry, as you can imagine, I'm a wild personality. Imagine me in the OR. You got to have your arms behind your back. You got to be straight faced. You can be fun, don't get me wrong, but you just got to watch what you're doing in the medical industry. You go in a hospital, you just don't know the environment, what patients are going through. Here in the automotive industry, I mean, I'm more myself than I am anything else. I think I was ripe for this industry, but I think coming from all these different backgrounds has really helped us transform the auto industry to doing something different. I mean, I've always studied like patients' behavior in the medical industry. I was a patient advocate, and now I study the customer, and I'm a customer advocate. So everything we preach on the DriveCentric side we study the customer's behavior to teach dealerships how to leverage our product and get better with the customer's experience and provide better reactions to them. So I think just being myself is, more, I feel like I was meant for this industry.
There is a stark contrast between selling to doctors versus car dealers.
I remember being in the OR, and the way you got to teach like a doctor, like let's say, Jesse, you're on the OR table and they're putting in an epidural needle into your spine, right? I can tell you there, I wouldn't go to the hospital and have that doctor operate on me. I mean, you know who's a good doctor and you know who's a bad doctor. It's no different like saying who's a good dealership and who's a bad dealership. Don't go to that dealership. Don't go to that doctor kind of thing. There's a lot of similarities in every industry. You remember having to say, hey, doctor, you may want to go a little shallower on that needle to get in the epidural space, because he was struggling. So you can't say, doctor, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Because you have all the nurse anesthetists around and you have the first assist, you have the second assist, and the scrub nurses all around. You can't make them look like an idiot. So there's an art to it.
Can you talk a little bit about DriveCentric and what the company is, what you do, and what you think is sort of the advantage of DriveCentric?
Oh, start with your title, please. You have an interesting title.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you how that title came out because it is kind of funny. The actual title, Jesse, you ready for this, is Chief Evangelist Officer.
I saw that. I was going to ask about that, so we can just kill two birds with one stone here.
I'm always going to give plugs. Carrie Weiss, I met her at Colorado, when she worked at Auto Trader. I forget which one now. She's probably going to get mad at me which one I forgot. But anyway, it doesn't matter. True Car. She was at True Car. And she was doing all these speaking engagements. And I just said, how do you do with what you do? Because we were just starting up, just like what you guys are. And I just said, I love you going around and you're always on stage. And she was, well, I'm the Chief Evangelist Officer. I said, I love that title. And as we grew, I'm basically the head cheerleader. That's basically what the title stands for. So I'm doing interviews. I'll get up on stage. I'm kind of like the Flo of Progressive Insurance, or, whoever you see on TV, that's essentially what I was in the medical industry. And now I am in the car industry, right? I'm the face of the company. And I take that very seriously, right? I got to represent the company well. And what we wanted to build at DriveCentric was something very different. All these CRMs are built to be database platforms. You guys are just like us, using either Salesforce or HubSpot. We use Salesforce. And, all these CRMs are all database platforms. So if you study the customer's behavior, and again, we've had a lot of time to do this, but the customers are just buying cars so fast that we saw kind of like an opportunity, if you will, to develop what we call an engagement platform. Now, we're still a CRM, you can database management, the system, but we wanted to focus on making sure that customers in this digital showroom are being more visible. So we go out there and teach, obviously, CRM 101, but now we're teaching customer or dealerships how to engage back much faster with all the tools readily at their fingertips. So we're teaching them things, obviously, phone calls and emails. That's what every CRM does. But you guys know, nobody picks up the freaking phone if you're not in somebody's record. Emails are kind of like a CYA. Actually, I'm on record to say email's a nocturnal activity. Okay. So if you just think about that, it'll make sense. But, but everybody is texting, video, Zooms, live streaming, and all that stuff. And then, implemented of artificial intelligence. These are all the tools we built inside Drive. So dealers don't have to, like I always say, these other legacy CRMs, they were built when we were all using Nokia phones. So they use the word integrate a lot. I integrate with this, I integrate with that. And that is just a recipe for disaster. I say it's like a Nokia phone connected up to your fax machine or your pager. And we just do everything all in one, kind of like an Apple type setting, which makes the dealerships way more effective and efficient to manage in one like tool. So now we do integrate with companies, but our whole method, just going back, is to go out there and teach stores something other than database management, but teach them how to engage much more productively with these customers faster.
And one of the things that I've seen you speak a few times at conferences, and your constant theme is engagement.
You got it.
Right. So, and you see the CRM being an engagement tool.
Correct.
To engage the customer.
Yeah. Well, just think about this. I mean, here's what a dealership will study. And any dealer watching this, you'll know what I'm going to say. At Okay, we're obviously in September, but here's what they measure. They go out there and say, how many internet leads did we get for August? How many appointments did we schedule? How many show? How many delivered? That is so 1980. Okay. So the new way of doing it is if I got 100 internet leads, what's your engagement rate of those internet leads? Now, statistically, it's been studied that it's between 30 and 35%. So let's use an analogy of baseball. If I give you 35 fastballs, how many of those do you knock out of the park? 50% of them, let's just say. So that's 18 appointments. If I can help you get an engagement level to 70%, which is what we're helping our dealerships get, I'm giving you more fastballs. Keep your conversion at 50%. You scheduled 35 appointments out of 70.
You talk about this shift from managing data to focusing on customer engagement.
Yep.
If you could also hit on some of the key engagement metrics that you encourage dealerships to look at and why, that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll hit on that first. So you know that everybody is texting. So a lot of our stores are using artificial intelligence. And the fact of the matter is AI is here. You know, we've been talking AI for over 10 years, but now with the technology of, chat GBT, we're putting a lot of chat GBT inside Drive. So the AI is more conversational right there with the customer in all different situations. So when an internet lead comes in, and there's other AI tools that do the same thing, they'll reach out, text, and email in 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if you study the customer's buying behavior, that's what they expect. You actually get higher closing ratios when you engage, not just reach out, engage the customer in less than 5 minutes. So that's what we can help the dealership get engagement quicker. The customer, if they're going out there reaching out to 3 different stores or 2 different stores, the first person to get engagement wins. It's just the way it works. So yeah, we teach, obviously, if you're there, if AI is texting an email, then salespeople or BDC will make a phone call and send a video. So we're practicing all 4 methods of communication right there as fast as you can do it. But the AI is there to serve as the immediate response. Some of the tools that we're leveraging, like video, there was just a study came out from 35 stores from the Automotive group, because video is adding a good touch. It's like everybody says, we do a good customer experience. Well, how do you know that? The video is all about providing a positive reaction to that customer. Whether you make them laugh or you give them some information, how do they react to that video versus a text where you're only reading and getting 7% of the communication? Video is all about a phone on steroids, in my opinion. If I'm sending a video and I'm warming up and I like that customer, I like what they're saying, they're being empathetic to me, they're wishing me happy birthday, they're confirming appointments, things of that nature, then that's going to create a positive reaction on a customer so they come in and buy. And that study from that 35 car store, they're actually adding another $1,600 of gross to the front and the back. That's been studied. So it just goes to show, if you humanize the car buying experience, you can not only sell more cars, but even add more gross to your bottom line.
So can you give us examples of some type of videos that drive that type of engagement?
Oh, some of the videos, obviously, that dealerships do are the typical walk-arounds and internet lead videos. Those have been taught to death. We're teaching our stores how to do confirm appointments. Some of the dealerships have studied, like if you do an appointment video, the day of the appointment, you get over an 80% show rate.
Are you showing yourself, or is it showing the salesperson? Hey, this is Chris Snellgrove. I'm excited to meet with you today.
Yeah, that's what we encourage. They say, hey, the car's here. I'll look forward to seeing you at 2:00. We encourage them to show themselves and even go through the car wash, get the car cleaned up, get the car gassed up for that appointment at 2:00 or whatever it may be. But again, if 80% of those customers show up the day of that appointment because of a video, that's a direct correlation to do the right activity at the right time. One of the other things too is, let's say, Chris, you don't show up to my 2:00 appointment. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you a missed appointment video. I'm going to send you a ghosting video. I'm going to do a birthday. I'm going to do an anniversary. I can do, we're teaching general managers how to say just thank you to the customer that bought the car yesterday, because it's right there at their fingertips. Video is video. So I just have to press a button and do the video. And that's what we just go out there and love to teach people, are the new methodologies to communicate with these customers in this modern world we're in.
And it's really designed to set you apart. When someone's shopping for an automobile, they're probably shopping more than one Ford store.
Totally.
So the inventory is very similar. The sale prices are similar. The incentives are the absolute same. The facility is a little bit different, but the defining difference is the experience
Yeah,
that
well,
you would deliver.
here's the data, and I should have maybe said this earlier, but look, 70% of customers are buying a car within 4 business days. If you go out to 10 days, it's 80%. Now, what's interesting, if you strip out and just look at used vehicles, it's 90% in 10 days. Because there's so much information to us as consumers. I don't have to go to a dealership to learn about a car. Hell, I could go to a Facebook group and join an F-150 and talk to all the customers driving an F-150, so I get better knowledge from people driving it. What should I be looking for? What are the things I should be asking the dealership for? Yada, yada, yada. What are your experiences with F-150? And that's what I think the car industry doesn't give credit to the customer as far as research in their vehicles, because that's what Google says. Google says the average customer is researching the cars like 15 to 17 hours before they send in that internet lead, they call your store, or they walk in your store. So customers want to buy, they don't want to be sold. It's a fundamental difference. So if I can help stores understand the data, a lot of our stores are getting rid of all their templates. So you talk about differentiating yourself, just talk to the freaking customer. Don't send a template. If a customer is buying your product in 4 days, Chris or Jesse, why would you ever send a template to a customer? Just, oh, yeah, here you go. Here's my product. You wouldn't do that.
They do it because it's easy. It's the easy way instead of taking the effort to do it the right way.
Exactly. People are in what we call doing the task, do the task mode. They're not doing the task at engagement mode. And fundamentally, that's a difference in the dealership world that we're trying to just fundamentally change. It's a culture shift. And if you go out there and think about any company that has started, and again, we're very fortunate, very blessed of what we've been doing and our success. That's the fun part about what we're doing. It's not selling a CRM, it's changing the culture and watching our stores catapult to learn how to implement new processes versus having business rules going out 120 days. Are you kidding me? Just give your salespeople a freaking phone book.
You talk about this shift and this transformation of how buyers are getting information, how they're buying cars. I guess, how do you convince dealers that they should prioritize engagement metrics over more traditional KPIs, and that's going to actually translate into sales and long-term success?
Well, one of the things we do is, we network our dealerships together. I mean, it's hard to change that philosophy. You know what I mean? And I totally get it. I mean, I've been there. Everybody's human. Everybody's always going to gravitate to what they know. But if they listen to the data, and I've been to many conferences where they show data and they go, instead of going with your gut, go with the data. You got to listen to it. And it's scary, but at least give it a solid effort of 6 months. Try it the way. And I've done this with dealerships. Like, just try it and tell me that it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And prove me wrong, and you can put an egg in my face. I don't care. If I tell you to quit smoking and it'll save 10 years on your life and you don't quit smoking, that's the data, right? I mean, but that's the fun part about the job. So, and what we do too is we'll bring dealerships into a conference we do called DC20. And it's a time for dealerships to network with one another. And one of the things structurally we do is we try to bring in the dealerships that are kind of old school, and we bring them in so they can work with progressive dealerships, and the progressive dealers help change their mindset. And we got so many great successes. A lot of times, we target the people that may not like drive, may not understand drive. Maybe they're on the fence about drive, and they come in and they just like, oh, I never thought of it like that. That makes a lot of sense. So it's an alert.
That makes sense.
That event's coming up, right?
Yeah, actually, it's next week in St. Louis. But yeah, we do 3 events a year. It's a free event, and we do it for mostly DriveCentric stores, but we'll also do it for people that are interested in drive. People I know are just trying to learn more. So we'll open it up to others. But right now, it's a great retention play on us. But we leverage the dealers. The dealers are up on stage and teaching other stores, like changing the culture of video. Like that guy, Jay Kales, who's going to be showing the study from Gee Automotive Group. He's going to be showing his study and how to start measuring video as part of the success at the dealerships. We'll have Champ Automotive doing stuff on marketing and showing metrics that dealerships don't know about when it comes to marketing. We highlight stores that are doing things progressively to help our dealerships grow. And really,
I saw you had Katie Maris. She was on our last episode of this podcast. Was Katie?
okay, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, great interview. But yeah, I saw that she was involved with this one coming up too.
She is. And what I always look for is I look for synergies within people or companies to help highlight the same message. Because I think what dealerships, just like in any other industry, if you start networking with the right people and they have the same message, the dealer hears the same message. That's why it's important. I'm working with Toyota Boston region. I'm like, what's the message you want to give to your dealerships? Because I'll do some education, because I don't want to say anything that is off of the beaten path of the message you're trying to convey to the dealer. You want people to hear the same message so it sinks in versus opposite messages, And if you guys are saying the same thing, because I know you guys are talking about reputation, we talk about reputation as well. How do you create that message when the dealership says, hey, I heard that before. I heard that before. And you know what? Then they start to listen to it, because you're not an army of one, you're an army of 3, 4, 5 people.
We're really focused right now more on customer experience, because really, if you don't focus first and foremost on the customer experience, nothing else matters. The reputation, the testimonials, the reviews, none of that matters if you're not focused on the most critical part of your business, and that's the customer experience.
Right. And Chris, I'm going to point this out publicly. What did I tell you to change that to?
Customer encounters.
Positive
reactions. Yeah.
So, customer experience, and just so you can hear this, Jesse, and everybody else is, everybody says customer experience, and it's not tangible. It's not tangible. The only way you can measure customer experience is by understand, did they buy a car? Did they not buy a car? And then did they react to whatever you're doing? So if I send Jesse you a video, and you react to an LOL, or you send me a video, or thank you very much, that video was awesome, exclamation, whatever, that's reaction. Then you got something. So you got to read buying signals digitally.
Is that a synonym for intent, and everybody talking about understanding buyer intent now, or is that something different?
I would say, I don't know. I guess you could say it's one of the same, but I would just say is, when I'm looking at, if I'm selling DriveCentric to somebody, I'm reading the digital conversation, and I can hear their tone, I can predict and know what they're going to say. It's sales, right? And so that's what I'm understanding is, are customers leaning towards Drive, or are they shying away, just like they're, it's sales. But if I'm selling DriveCentric and I, I'm sending them, just like I got this guy in California, I'm teaching him, I'm sending him memes. And the guy was on vacation. I say, hey man, are you on vacation? And he's ghosting me. Then I hit him up last week, and he picked up the phone. He actually called, he goes, dude, I wish I could teach my sales guys the way you communicate. And I've been told that a lot of times, because it's just refreshing. It's fun. It's, it's not like, hey, you ready to do this deal? I'm sending memes and I'm mixing it up. And so I'm always trying to get buying signals through my communication if they won't pick up the phone.
You talk about emojis, and you talk about SMS and GIFs and memes. Do you think that the way that dealerships often communicate is too stuffy and too corporate?
Absolutely.
And is not how people actually communicate?
Yes. I chant, this is I'm showing you right now. Those are my memes right there. All right. So, you can see, if somebody, now I'll send that bottom one if somebody is, doing something, but yeah, I've got all sorts of.
What's the app that you use, Steve?
Well, now it's on Apple. It's got sticker and stuff like that, but there's my ghosting one.
I like that one a lot.
But yeah, I just create a whole library of them, and the whole idea is keeping my face in front of the customer. I'm branding myself. That's what I mean. If I'm going to be the face of the company, I'm going to go out there, and I've got a situation for everything. So a customer, for example, let's just talk situation selling right here. One of my favorite ones I love to send to people is this guy right here. If somebody said, how somebody has that, I'll give you a call back in 5 to 10 minutes, stupid text back that nobody changes. I hit them back. I'm like, promise. And I always get an LOL. Or the memes, tap the glass. That's one of my favorite memes of all time. You just type in tap the glass and tap the glass in Jiffy, and it's the little girl glass, and I send that to customers ghosting me. So I've got a situation for every GIF in my mind. Those are some of the things. Now, those are all in DriveCentric, or how to use an emoji. And I'm not saying I'm the emoji king. I'm more the GIF king. But I can play with half the emoji. Like I didn't know, the salute. I'll tell you, this was kind of like my old man. I didn't know what the salute one was because I was like, it's half an emoji. I had no idea what the fuck that was.
Oh my God.
I did a whole TikTok on it. Everybody kind of laughed at it. But
There's the one where the two people are giving each other a hug almost, and I couldn't figure out what the hell that was for the longest time. And then I looked closer, I'm like, oh, it's two people. One's got the other like giving him like a greeting.
anytime you can decorate your communication, it just adds tonality to it. Like if my wife sends me a book via text, I'm going to have one of y'all read it and ask her if she's pissed off at me. I don't want to read a book. I am ADD, ADHD. I'm self-diagnosed. But I always tell her, give me a freaking call. I'm not going to read your freaking text. And but the whole idea is with text, it's black and white, and you can read any text based on your emotional status that day. And people take things out of context all the time. That's why it's 7%. And when you get people on the phone, you had 38%. And when you get people face to face, it's all about body language, 6% or 58, whatever it is. But, and that's what video can bring is 100% of your overall communication and nothing's being misinterpreted.
It sounds to me like having been part of CRM rollouts and onboardings before, and seeing how much change management is involved just to get people to change their behavior when it comes to their processes and their sales. And then you're also putting on top of that major cultural change as well. So it's sort of like double change management that you're going for here. I've got to think you're really good at change management, and you could probably give some tips around some of the keys to it.
Yeah, no, it's not as bad as what you think. I mean, here's what most people have to worry about are usually business. Their data is going to be number one concern. So we get the data from any CRM, just like the other CRMs do. We have what's called a script, and it just transfers over the data. But that's the number one concern from any dealer, making sure. And look, everybody in the industry does a really good job with that. I mean, the technology is just there to do it. But what if I told you get rid of 80% of your business rules? It's not a big lift. Most of our stores come on board and their business rules go to 14 days or less. Why is that? Well, we just talked about doing the right activity at the right time. I want salespeople to value where the customers are buying so they can be more reactive. They want to value a day 3 task versus a day 30 task or a day 60 task. And anybody that is on the dealership side knows that your people are buried in workflows. And that's why they're losing deals. So we're putting the priority where the customers are buying and let AI take care of it. Number 2, we get rid of a lot of templates. You don't have to upload all your templates. We have stores with 0 templates. So, I mean, just think of all the barriers now. We have some stores literally, Jesse, with no business rules. Now, I'm not suggesting a store coming on board doing that, but that you can gravitate. We have, that's at our DC20. We have the number one Lexus store in the world operates their store with no business rules in their BDC department.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that work? Can you talk more about that?
They're focused on engagement. I mean, and again, what we have is we have reports and you have buckets, and you could always track by the last engagement. So your workflow is here's what I like to teach. And I don't know how you teach your salespeople, but with the way I was taught for follow-up, and again, this was non-retail, but I would do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. It was every other day. So in DriveCentric, what a lot of people will do is follow up with the gap of the last attempt. So we have a column that says last attempt, and you don't let your last attempt gap get 2 days. That's it. And you go based on the priority. It's not hard. And then when you go out, if they get to 14 days and there's no engagement, then they let the AI take over. It's not hard. But now you start working your work plan from what we call our pipeline. And it's so refreshing because now I'm doing the right activity at the right time versus trying to go through and cipher through my work plan. Plus, if you get a 70% engagement, Jesse, now your people have time to respond to customers. Because the salespeople in BDC, they're told, get your work plan done. You got to make 100 phone calls, 50 emails a day, or 40 type of metric. That's database management or tattletale sales. If you have, 20 customers talking your store, that's equivalent to 20 customers physically in your showroom. They're just in the digital showroom. And if I ask any dealer who's watching this, how many customers are talking in digital showroom? The answer is you don't know. And they can't see it, so they can't manage to it, and that's why it's costing them deals. We focus on the digital showroom customer so they become better responders. So instead of being a task monkey all over on their work plan, they're responding monkeys to customers looking. You got to respond to these customers in less than 10 minutes.
Really interesting.
It's fun, man. It's a refreshing message. I mean, I know it may seem difficult, but I mean, it is so much fun to watch people when they listen to the data and react to it. And then when they implement it, they go back to what they know. I'm like, hey, remember, this is an engagement platform. You got to think there's 20 customers right there talking to your store. And when I show them, like, holy cow, now I see what you're talking about because it's their data. It's eye opening. I still remember talking to one of the really big Toyota stores. They just converted. I was seeing them at NADA and I called them up. I said, dude, you have 60 customers talking to your store. And he goes, well, where's that at? I go, the sidebar. He goes, well, what does that mean? I go, they're talking to you about buying a car. He goes, I got to go because he never saw that before. It's just change management, but you just got to reprioritize their focus when they see it. And then when it's their store, then they jump all over it.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Implementation, like getting buy-in, or more importantly, behavioral change from the newly acquired client.
Well, it's like anything else. You got to get the managers on board. I mean, it all starts from the top. I think the biggest change is literally getting their buy-in. They'll see the vision, they buy into the vision, but then again, just like what I said earlier, you just got to stay on top of them. And we got a great support team. So that usually a store comes on board and they do bi-monthly meetings for the first couple of months, 3 months, whatever they want to do. And then they go out there because it's usually the same thing, right? I mean, you guys know, you guys are putting this stuff in, you're saying the same message and it's not sinking in to like that fifth or sixth meeting, right? So then we move on to something else. And that's the whole idea, is create the behavioral change and say, hey guys, you have 8 appointments today. You didn't send one darn video. And you just say, so how are you going to do that? And then we have some video best practices that we love to teach and show what other stores are doing with video. And then they go, oh, we can do that. It all starts with, once they get started, you just got to stay on top of it. And just like anybody goes to a trade show, they're like drinking out of a fire hose. What do I start with? What do I come back with? In DriveCentric, it's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose. So you just got to nibble a little bit at it at a time. And we focus on things like being a better responder, because indirectly we know that if the customer stays engaged with that dealership, they indirectly just sell more cars. We brush them up on video, and then we show the managers how to manage the digital showroom and do a better job one-on-one with their salespeople. And if you do those 3 things, you indirectly sell more cars.
How do you define success, Steve?
Oh man, it's probably changed for me over the years, man. Gosh, man. I'd like to my definition of success over the years has been just having a high integrity company. I think that's when you go out there and you build something and you're getting recognized for something you're doing that's changing the industry. I'd like to think, again, I came from a different background, so I'm not a car guy. So, and I'm not, no disrespect to anybody, but, if I ever lied, cheated, and steal in the medical industry, I would be ostracized from that hospital. And I can't take away that 16 years in my head. And so I might not be saving a life, but I feel like I'm saving a dealership. So that's the way I approach starting up our company. And we can't do something, I tell everybody straight up, you can't do it, even though they may not like the answers. We're not perfect for everybody, but we approach it the right way. And I think our success as a company in the industry, I'd like to think we're just a high integrity company. And that's why I love it when people call me up and they ask me my opinion on certain companies. And that to me speaks volume. That's like a doctor asking me, hey, what do you think of this product going to this patient type of thing? And that's kind of like what I wanted to build within our organization. And I think we become a resource to dealerships, whether they're on drive or not. And I think that's what I call success, I think, for any of the companies we help build. That to me is very, very important, because then you generate referrals that way. Indirectly, if you build a high integrity company, you're perceived a lot differently.
You look to for inspiration, speakers that you look up to, or authors. Who inspires you?
My managers in other industries, I've always looked up to. They taught me a lot in other industries, which helped me mold to be who I am today. I love stories because I feel like I'm in that. I may not have had the hardship, but like Glenn Lundy. I love Glenn Lundy. I love his story of rising from literally nothing into where he is today. I love those types of stories. I've always just, from my managers, I never had time. When you're starting up a company, I don't read books. I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't read books, but I love listening. Like when I go out there, Bill Whitmire, okay, he worked at eLead. He's now with another organization. But when I first got in the car industry, I watched a lot of people speak. And when I saw Whitmire was my competitor, I went and watched him speak. And he'll tell you, I told him this. I said, man, you were the guy that I kind of watched as I evolved into the auto industry. Just the way he presented, I felt like there's a lot of synergies there. I got the pleasure of listening to Grant Cardone speak, and I took something away that he did. I mean, I know Grant Cardone, you can love him or hate him, but at one of Glenn's events, I got to meet him, and he has a lot of the same personality I do. I think it could be misrepresented in social, but I love when he said, like, you're either collaborating with me or I'm clobbering you. I love that. And that's the way I kind of feel about business. I always say, if you're with me or against me type of thing. And I have that same mindset. I love collaborating. Gary Vee, obviously I watched some of his stuff.
Yep.
Picked up some things. And that's the thing. You go outside the industry and you watch what other people are doing and saying, and then you can implement it into car industry.
Yeah, I say you're either in or you're in the way.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you say is the main thing that dealerships get wrong when it comes to engagement?
Oh, they don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. You ask a dealership, what's your engagement rate? They'll say, well, what does that mean? And it's which again, I come from a different background, but to me, it's always, makes sense. So you just got to put it into language like, hey, you're spending all this money in marketing. What's your engagement rate? And they don't know. And they'll say, well, we reach out to 100% of everybody. That doesn't mean they all reach back out to you. That's engagement, So part of that is understanding, like, if I talk to a customer that's an internet lead, what's my conversion of an engaged customer to a visit? That's really the measurement you're tracking. So that's why I say it's very simple formula for any dealer. If you can talk to more customers, you schedule more appointments, and you sell more cars. That's the trick to selling more cars. That's it. It's all about, if you can't engage a customer, how the hell are you going to get them in, Jesse?
Well, I know that we're coming up on the hour here, and you've got some stuff you got to do. But Chris, you want to ask a final question or two?
Yeah, I mean, one question I always like to ask is, what do you want to be known for?
Oh gosh, what do I want to be known for? I always want to be a resource. I think that's in the auto industry. I do study the customer's behavior, and I try to get to know every company. It's hard when you guys are growing and everybody's busy. I'm being stretched a lot of different directions. I used to go out there and spend time with your company. Tell me a little bit about your company so I get educated about other products. I used to do that quite a bit in the first 5 years of my career. I wish I could go back and do that, but I'd like to always be a resource to a dealer. That's always what we want to be, is we want to be helpful. We want to help them sell more cars, and we just want to be a good partner. So I would always say just being a resource to everybody. Whether you're on drive or not, that's the way we want to be.
Cool. And if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out to you? And what else do you have coming up that you'd like to plug, or anything else?
Gosh, man, it's like trade show season coming up, guys. What show aren't we going to? But yeah, no, hey, you guys can always reach out to me. I'm all over on social. Just ping me. I'm the Live with Drive guy, Steve Roessler. I mean, go to my social, DM me, slip it into the DM message, as we say, right? Okay. But no, I mean, the show's coming up. I mean, obviously we got DC20 next week. Digital Dealers coming up, and then MRC's coming up. What other thing? Oh, I got to go to Hawaii. And my first trip to Hawaii, I get to go to the California Dealer Association meeting in Hawaii. That's pretty cool, baby.
That's very awesome. Cool.
So yeah, I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm scared to death for that 1 day flight there and 1 day flight back. But other than that,
you're gonna love it.
Hawaii.
Well worth it.
You are gonna love it. It's awesome.
It's been great getting to know you a little bit.
Well, and Jesse, I'm going to challenge you, man. Before I get off every interview, I want to hear you say your best Live with Drive.
Oh my.
Here you, Jesse.
Live with Drive. We have to
Awesome.
edit out.
I knew Chris.
Let's hear the master. You can take us out,
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
What? Take us out with what? The Live with Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is Steve Roessler, the Live with Drive guy.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Reputation Sensei Playbook. Every episode is designed to help you build trust, attract customers, and grow your dealership. Want to see real results? Head to reputationsensei.com and schedule your free strategy session. Our managed service and Sensei testimonial app are ready to boost your reputation to new heights. If you found this episode valuable, spread the word to your network. Your success is our success. And remember, in the world of automotive sales, your reputation isn't just part of your business, it is your business. We'll see you on the next episode.